Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Hello and welcome back to the Bliss feed. I usually consider myself to be a pretty independent, introverted person. I like working on stuff on my own. I usually did not like group projects in school, and so I've always been the type of person to just be like, I'm good, I'm fine. I don't need anyone else. But what this past year has really shown me is that I actually really miss doing collaborative work. I miss having people around me to keep me on track and inspired, and it is really hard to self-motivate yourself all the time, especially with this really difficult year that we've had. So I got myself an accountability buddy and all of my problems were solved. Okay, won't fix everything, but I will tell you that since I got an accountability buddy, I've had the longest streak of good mental health days that I've had since last summer. So there's my glowing testimonial of the power of having a buddy. So why might one look for an accountability buddy? I looked for one for two main reasons. The first was that I had this really big, multifaceted project with a strict deadline that I really needed to complete. And then the second reason was that I just wanted some sort of daily accountability to keep me on track and not fall into a slump, as has been my tendency as of late. So what can an accountability buddy do for you? Let me tell you the 4 things I've listed here in this Google Doc. So number 1 is a buddy can help you meet specific goals that you both agree on. These can be big projects or big milestones that you're trying to meet, and your buddy can just make sure that you get to the finish line of that. They can also help you with smaller daily things like making sure that you keep on top of your habits through doing consistent check-ins. They also provide a really nice fresh perspective because it's always helpful to bounce ideas off another person. They can offer you ideas for challenges that you're facing that you might never have thought of. And then number 4 is that your buddy can just provide moral support, which is always really nice. So if those 4 things sound appealing to you, I would recommend before you go and start looking for a person to be your accountability buddy, I feel like I'm just gonna say buddy from now on because accountability buddy is a tongue twister. Figure out which of those 4 things is most important to you and what qualities are you looking for in your buddy. Are you looking for someone who has very similar goals to yours and will then understand exactly the specific challenges that you're facing, or someone with different goals who might provide a fresh new perspective for you? Are you looking for someone who is super strict and won't let you get away with anything, or someone who just showers you in encouragement and positive reinforcement? There's a lot of different ways to structure an accountability buddy arrangement and a lot of different styles in which to support your buddy, so it's important to know what you're looking for before you think through your network and who might match that. So if you're looking amongst your friends for a buddy, just remember that not all friendships are the same, so you probably have some friends who are a lot of fun to hang out with, but whenever you are together, you just cannot focus or get anything done. So while that might be the perfect friend to call on a Friday night, they might not be the best match for an accountability buddy. You also might want to think about your not quite friends, your acquaintances. You don't necessarily have to know your buddy on a super personal level in order for the accountability buddy thing to work. In fact, it might even work better because let's say you like writing and you're in a writing club and there's this person at your writing club who you see once a week, so you're not best friends, but you have similar interests. They might be a really good match for an accountability buddy because you probably have similar writing related goals, but when you have your meetings, you probably won't get as distracted because you just don't know each other that well, so you'll be more likely to keep it professional, if that makes sense. And then finally, the internet is a big and wonderful place, sometimes a little scary, so just be safe. I'm gonna plug our Vibely group here, so if you're already a member of that, just skip past this section. But we have a community on this app called Vibely where we have weekly personal development challenges and group chats about all sorts of different topics. So for this week, the challenge is actually to find your own accountability buddy. So you might remember when I did a video about pen paling, all these people in the comments were introducing themselves and pairing themselves to be pen pals. So that's basically what we're trying to do this week on Vibely. You can post what you're looking for in a dream buddy. You can comment on other people's posts if you think you might be a good fit. You can actually communicate and message that person right within the app. And then periodically we will have challenges for you and your buddy to complete together. So it's gonna be great and you should join us. For my accountability buddy, I picked my friend Taylor because we had been talking a lot, but our friendship was pretty new. And so I felt comfortable with her, but I also felt like it was a good way to to continue developing our friendship. I also knew that we had some similar goals because she had told me that she had been wanting to write more, and my goal was also writing related, so it was a perfect match. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. You're probably watching this on YouTube, but the main home of the Bliss Bean is actually on my Squarespace website. So it's where I compile everything I do on the internet basically, and it's a really good way to brand myself and to showcase all of my work in a really professional way by just easily designing a drag and drop website. So let me show you some of the pages that I have on here. This is my worksheets page where I basically used image and text blocks to compile everything in one place. This is all great stuff to fill out with your buddy, by the way, wink wink. I have this page where I used their built-in blogging feature to compile all of my videos and podcast episodes in one place. I have a podcast page, newsletter. You can even sell products on Squarespace using their e-commerce features. So you can take a look at my website if you want to, just for an example of what can be accomplished with Squarespace, because I'm pretty proud of it if I do say so myself. And then you can head to Squarespace for a free trial and use my code TheBlissBean for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Okay, so you have your site set on a buddy. How do you reach out to them? So I reached out to Taylor by texting her and actually telling her that I was planning on making this video and that I needed someone to do an accountability buddy experiment with, basically, so that I would have material for the video. I also explained to her how our writing goals matched up, and luckily she said yes, so I didn't have to deal with any rejection. I think it's good to have like an initial meeting to set things up. If you can't do in person, then a call, but definitely be talking to each other because it's more personal than just texting or emailing or anything like that. So go over some questions like, what will our goals be? What exactly are we keeping each other accountable for? How often do we want to meet in person or over the phone? How often do we want to do text check-ins and updates? Are there any activities you want to do together? So for example, a lot of people will set a date to go to the gym with their accountability buddy, or to study together, or to go to a coffee shop to get some writing done. You also might want to do a test run, maybe just a week, whether or not it's someone you knew super well beforehand, just to make sure that you're a good match for this type of thing. You've probably heard about SMART goals, so I don't think I need to go over it too much, but try to set goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. That way it's very clear either you did the thing you said you were gonna do or you didn't. It helps both of you to understand and take action on your goals, and it helps your buddy to know exactly how to check in with you to make sure that you're on the right track. So for example, for that first week, the 2 things I told Taylor I was gonna do was I was gonna spend 2 hours every morning writing, and I was gonna move my desk to a different part of my room for just a fresh perspective. So those were both very clear objectives. I either did them or I didn't. When it comes to your meetings, it's up to you to decide the frequency. So Taylor and I decided to call each other every weekend, but that might be too often for you, especially if you have an accountability buddy for like a very specific purpose. So if you have a running buddy and your shared goal is to run 3 times a week for a month, there's really nothing you need to discuss during the month. You just decide your goal at the beginning of the month and then talk about it at the end of the month. If, however, you're like me and Taylor and your accountability buddy is more just like an overall life/mental health buddy, in that case, it can be helpful to have lots of opportunities to talk about new stuff. Aside from our weekly calls, Taylor and I decided to also do daily texting check-ins. So the first thing that we started with was in my journaling, in my morning journaling, I had been doing this thing where I would write down 3 good decisions that I could make that day. And this was all great and fine, except for the fact that when only you and your journal know about it, it is very easy to just skip doing the thing because there's literally no consequences. And so Taylor and I decided that every morning we would text each other 3 mini goals that we had for that day. Those might be task related, like I will finish editing this podcast today, or just little habit things like I will go outside today, I will take Pomodoro breaks to break up my work, or I'll go to bed by 10 p.m. Or just mindset related things like I will make sure to be present and enjoy this event that I have later today. About halfway through our time being buddies, Taylor also came up with the idea to text each other 3 things we were grateful for each day in the evening, and that was also something that I had already been doing in my journaling. I had been doing it in my Day 1 app, and so it was very easy for me. I barely had to change anything. I would just take a screenshot and send it to her, but I think it does make a difference because it's nice to just share that with someone and to share the gratitude. In terms of how you communicate with your buddy, there's a certain balance that you have to strike because you want to actually be helpful, and so if they don't do something that they said they were gonna do, you don't just want to always brush it off and be like, whatever, it's fine, I forgive you. But you also don't want to be like, why didn't you do it? Huh? You always want to be encouraging improvement. So if they did something well, cheer them on, be specific, be like, this is what you did well and I'm very proud of you for doing that. If they didn't meet their goal, then maybe you can help them figure out exactly why that happened and what they can change the next time. I kept my accountability buddy notes in this journal, so if you watch my journaling video, this is my special journal. This is not used for daily journaling, this is used for special occasion journaling. I would definitely encourage you to have a place to write down all of the things that you and your buddy agree on and talk about, whether that is a notebook or a note in your notes app or a whole page in your Notion setup. So in my notes, I would write down the date that we called, what I agreed to do that week, and then throughout the week, I would just make little notes for anything that I wanted to talk about at the next meeting. Maybe what worked or didn't work that week, ideas for the next week, tools or techniques I'm thinking about trying, just anything that I wanted to tell Taylor about. I think you're more likely to stick with this accountability buddy thing if you make it fun. So here's some ways you can make it fun. First of all, really pay attention to and care about what's going on in their life. If you know that they're having a difficult week, for example, you can send them a special note or a surprise gift or something like that. You also don't have to keep it all professional and business/goals related. Even if it's not someone you knew super well beforehand, try to just keep it at least a little bit light and fun. Send them an inspiring quote that you find or a meme that reminds you of something that you talked about, if they appreciate memes. And I truly hope that you can find an accountability buddy who appreciates memes, because that is what you deserve. Taylor and I, the first time we called, we actually made these shared Spotify playlists, one for writing and then one for energy, mood boost whenever we needed it. We didn't actually end up using these playlists a whole lot, but it was cute, okay? So some things I've learned after now doing this buddy experiment for like 5-6 weeks now, I'm not even sure when we started. When you do have those calls or meetings, it's good to schedule a couple of those in advance, because if you just try to schedule it each week, it just becomes a whole mess of going back and forth and trying to find a time that works for both of your schedules. For me, one surprising thing about this was that the most important and impactful aspect of this was actually our daily check-ins, because previously when I would hear the term accountability buddy, I always thought of it as something that you do when you have like a very specific goal that you're trying to reach. But it actually made such a big difference in a time when we're all working and studying virtually to just have someone who you talk to on a consistent basis, who you knew was there to be a listening ear, hype you up, encourage you, motivate you, not necessarily be pushing you towards some super strictly defined goal, but just to be there for you. The value of being there for someone and having someone be there for you, I think, cannot be overstated. So that was my guide to finding and having an accountability buddy. As I said at the start of the video, this has been so helpful for my mental health. It of course has not fixed everything. Nothing fixes everything, but I think we're all just looking for little things to implement to be incrementally happier and healthier, and this has been one thing that has helped me. So I hope maybe it also helps you. As a reminder, you can head to the description for the link to our Vibely community where you can find your own online accountability buddy. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and thank you so much for watching this video. Bye!